morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mayday Network. You're watching The Dispatch. I'm Michelle Kinney. I'm here with Julie Roginski and little baby Maggie.
Maggie Mayday.
Maggie Mayday. Everyone, hope that you had a safe and lovely weekend. Hopefully you stayed a little bit, I don't know, dry. Not terribly dry here in the Northeast, at least in New York. But the great thing is that the Knicks are in the NBA Finals for the first time in 27 years.
Which means that I have a child whose birthday is tomorrow who's like, I know a good birthday gift. Why don't you get me why don't you get me Knicks tickets for the finals? I was like,
that's quite the gift.
That's quite the gift, my friend. And no.
I've never been to a Knicks game. Never.
Oh, I have been. I've had to go with my son. And you guys, I know this is going to sound awful because people are dying for these tickets. It is so painful, Michelle. I cannot even tell you. Just not basketball. Not my. I like sports.
I love basketball. I've just, you know what it is. I have been to a bajillion Yankees games because the thing is, like, last minute, you can always find a Yankees ticket, like, for cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look like 20 minutes before the game starts, you can find a ticket for $30 or $40, like in a really decent area. I have never had that experience trying to look for a ticket at Madison Square Garden. Not ever. So for that reason, I've never been.
Yeah, I've never paid for it. I luckily have friends who have access to tickets to the Garden, so that's how I've been. But these are going to be hard. Like, he also wants tickets to the World Cup. I'm like, dream on, my friend.
Well, Mamdani is making it possible. I think it was like $50 tickets. They're like giving out like $1,050 tickets or something. We'll see.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Anyways,
Michelle, there's a story in the Daily Mail yesterday, and it's the Daily Mail, so let's take it with a grain of salt. However, they are a MAGA aligned publication, so they are that said that JD Vance, our friend JD, parentheses, fourth name that he's gone by or something.
James Bauman, JD, like so many names. Yes. Newly Catholic.
Newly Catholic JD Vance is no longer considering a 2028 presidential campaign. He feels very isolated because he's like, the anti-war person. His BFF in the anti-war effort, Tulsi Gabbard, has been pushed out. I know she said that she's leaving to spend more time with her sick husband. Yeah, okay. She was pushed out. And you know how you know that? Because the White House immediately went on background and told everybody on earth that she was, that's what was happening.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, so she is out, and apparently JD is very isolated, is not in any meetings with any kind of significance. Marco Rubio is like running the show. He has been totally isolated, JD Vance, and so on. Which is fascinating because you and I have had this theory for a long time. It's not really a theory. Here's the facts, and then you guys tell me what the theory part of this is. Peter Thiel convened people back in 2020. Sorry, he was making weirdo sounds. Stop it. Convened people back in Ohio. JD Vance was part of that crew to basically talk about how to take over the world. And JD Vance was part of it. Blake Masters, who also worked for Peter Thiel, was also part of it. JD Vance happened to win his election in Ohio. Blake Masters lost his. Had Blake Masters won his election in Arizona against Mark Kelly, or no, didn't run against. Yeah, he did run against Mark Kelly. Had he won his election in Arizona, who knows whether JD Vance would be the vice president or Blake Masters would be the vice president. Clearly, Peter Thiel installed JD Vance.
Oh, yeah.
Probably Blake Masters would have been the vice presidential nominee because Arizona is a bigger swing state than Ohio at this point. So what is fascinating about all this is that, I don't think Trump really cares whether it's JD Vance or somebody else.
I don't think he wants. I mean,
he doesn't want anybody. He just wants somebody who's going to know
anybody. He doesn't want there to ever be another Republican president after him. Yeah. And this is all a game. This is all happening on TV. This is like The Apprentice in real life, right? Except for the fact that, I mean, like Donald Trump, and to quote Anthony Scaramucci, he said this, is
Sorry. Yeah.
Anthony Scaramucci eats his young. This is what, or no, not Anthony
Donald
Scaramucci.
Trump.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I was distracted by the adorable puppy. Anthony Scaramucci said that Donald Trump eats his young. And that is absolutely true. And the thing is here too is Marco Rubio's like the war hawk here, okay? And so he's now planning an invasion of Cuba. And Marco Rubio is like the only quote unquote serious person really
He's not a serious person.
and he's not. Right, exactly. I mean, he was a senator, right? So and for that reason was voted 99 to 0 or 1 or whatever when he was confirmed to be Secretary of State. So right now he's kind of like the hot guy inside of the White House because he's the one kind of fulfilling all of Donald Trump's quote unquote wartime administration, which is all, of course, made up and manufactured, and none of this needed to happen. But he's also Susie Wiles's guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're both Florida. That's why he's there. Marco Rubio has had to, I mean, he's just another example of the groveling and the embarrassment and the kneeling down to Donald Trump that happens in the Republican Party. These people have absolutely no shame and no self-respect whatsoever for their own political gain and rise to power. But the thing is, Julie, is that they never learn. It never works out for them.
Because when this goes to hell, and it will, right? Marco Rubio is going to be the scapegoat, and Trump is going to say, "I can't believe Rubio."
100%.
So let me be clear about Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio was actually super strong on NATO, super strong in Ukraine,
Russia,
strong against Russia back when he was a senator. Exceptionally so. I agreed with a lot of Marco Rubio's positions on this.
Mm-hmm.
Marco Rubio clearly couldn't give a shit because the minute he goes into the administration, everything flips. He starts being awful to the Ukrainians. Remember his little Zelensky? He was in that horrible Zelensky meeting back in the spring of 2025. He's been threatening NATO. I mean, all of this. And, I think what's awful about this is that they are just like, they don't care. They don't care. They have no ideology. It's not like he's trying to bring Trump along. I think they all realize you cannot bring Trump along. So what's happening now is that they're just being completely awful and to everybody involved. The beauty of this thing with Vance is, however, you reap what you sow, buddy. You are completely incompetent. You are totally lazy. You have no worldview whatsoever that Peter Thiel has not told you to have. Zero. And you got kicked to the curb as a result. He may be back when this war goes south, when everything goes south. I mean, look, Trump right now, we have a deal. We don't have a deal. Now they're bombing southern Iran. For people who don't know, the Israelis are doubling down on bombing Lebanon. So, you go, I love this, like on Friday, every time, friends, on Friday, we have a deal. We're on the cusp of a deal. Oil prices, futures drop. Happy days here again. The market goes up. Well, everything's great.
I'm sure there's no market manipulation going on here, or like insider
and then
trading or like anything.
Last night, of course, right before the market opens in Asia, what happens? We start bombing Iran, and oil prices go up. I mean, come on. What is this dog doing? She's like staring at me, like. But so it is absolutely bonkers, and they all hate each other, and they're all fighting among each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, like awful. Well, these people are terrible people.
These are terrible people, and it's there's just like this empty sort of nihilism, right? Do you remember that article back, I think it was in the New Yorker like a number of years ago, about Mitch McConnell? And it was like, what does Mitch McConnell believe in? And really the theme of this article was nothing. It was all about power, and it was all about him at any cost, and he didn't care like what it took. And that has proven to be true time and time again. And JD Vance is someone, I just want people to understand, if you don't know JD Vance's background, he met Peter Thiel when he was in law school. And when he graduated from law school, Peter Thiel, said to his friend, "Hey, get this kid a job, at your company in California." So he goes, and of course, he shows up. JD Vance is not a self-starter. He is not terribly motivated to do much of anything except stand around. So he's very lazy. And so these people are like, okay, get him out of here. He doesn't do anything. So Peter Thiel hands him a bunch of money and says, "Here, start your own company." So he goes and does that. And guess what? It fails. And so what is a guy to do? So Peter Thiel, it's like, you know what? I want you to meet Donald Trump. Walks him into Donald Trump's office and then hands him $15 million, the single largest donation to any Senate campaign PAC in the history of American politics, to run for the Senate in Ohio after having, by the way, no jobs ever, really, in life, ever. Runs for the Senate. And this is, again, after he was a never Trump guy. Do you remember like all the interviews that he was doing? I don't like Trump.
Hitler.
Yeah. There was text messages that he said he was America's Hitler. There is nothing that this man won't do to grovel and shapeshift. And this is, again, like JD Vance has grown up, obviously comes from, his hillbilly elegy story, which at this point I start to wonder like how much of it is manufactured. I don't know. But he's changed his name legally, I think 4 times, because he just keeps reinventing himself into new identities, literally, including, aligning himself with Opus Dei and converting to Catholicism in 2019, and just a short 7 years later is vice president, is lecturing the Pope as president of the United States, which, again, it has been reported that JD Vance shows up late to work. He just kind of stands around the water cooler, doesn't really do much. He just kind of shows up and gives a speech every now and then. This man is lazy and doesn't believe in anything. And Peter Thiel, I mean, I'm just speculating here, is not going to waste his time or money, I think, on anybody who's not going to go anywhere. This is what Peter Thiel does. He spreads his money around to kind of see who rises.
He's a good businessman. Listen, you can't. Yeah. A couple of things to note here about Peter Thiel and JD Vance, the whole Catholic thing. First of all, if you have some sort of a religious epiphany, you convert to any religion, like, God bless. Yeah. All for it. However, Peter Thiel has become obsessed with the Antichrist. And now I'm obsessed with the Antichrist, and I'm not even kidding. Peter Thiel has now gone to Rome and has done a series of lectures, I think 10, but I might not be right about that number.
He's so psycho.
In the shadow of the Vatican about the Antichrist, which is effectively a middle finger to the Vatican. Mm-hmm. The Pope, who I love this Pope more and more every day, no wonder people are flocking to the Catholic Church again, has now issued an encyclical attacking AI and saying AI
amazing
over the weekend, that AI is like, the death of all of us and so on and so forth.
And Peter Thiel says the Antichrist is regulating AI and tech, which is like amazing.
You now have whatever the Vatican sees in Peter Thiel, they see him as a threat that needs to be responded to. The Vatican doesn't, I'm not Catholic, but I do know quite I'm very fascinated by how the Catholic Church, the Vatican works. I wouldn't say the Catholic Church, but how so political. I love it. Like I always said, if anybody actually wants to make a lot of money, they should embed themselves in Rome and just do a blog about like who's in, who's out, who's up, who's down in the Vatican. More fascinating.
Like page 6.
Like basically Politico, but for the Vatican. I think I don't know what Axel Springer is doing, but if I were in their shoes, I would literally set up a Vatican Politico because I think it would be fascinating and people would read it.
That's actually a really good idea, Julie.
I'm telling you, if I had time and money, I would, and I spoke Italian, I would move in Latin. I would move.
My in-laws were at the Vatican yesterday, actually.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would move to Rome and I would do this, but that's not the point. The point is clearly something is happening in the Vatican with respect to Peter Thiel, where they felt compelled to do a oblique response, and I'm sure this encyclical wasn't just about Peter Thiel. Clearly, AI is much more than just Peter Thiel, but it's fascinating about the timing here. Anyway, what's also fascinating is that J.D. Vance only became Catholic when Peter Thiel decided to really lean into Catholicism.
Yes.
And not only is he Catholic, he is telling people that effectively his wife is going to go to hell because she insists on staying as a Hindu woman, which is what she was when he met her. He had a Hindu wedding, friends. He put on the Indian garb to get married. His kids' names, I think, are Vivek or like some. I mean, like he super hard leaned into the Indian thing,
right?
Super hard
because it was
probably.
He's like, I'll be whoever you want me to be.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden, when Daddy says to him, "No, be Catholic," not only did he become Catholic, which again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he had a Saul to Damascus, conversion where like Jesus came to him in the night and said, become Catholic. And so I'm not diminishing that part, but I think it's fascinating that he decided to become Catholic right when he leaned into the whole Peter Thiel thing.
I mean, you're very kind and diplomatic, and I understand why you're saying what you're saying. I don't believe any of that shit. I think he's full of shit.
But yeah,
I mean, I think he's full of shit. And here's the thing: I've only spent my life around cradle Catholics, so like to see someone convert for no reason, like not for marriage, not for like, and like it's a very, it's sus.
No. I know people who've converted.
I've never met anyone who's
I don't know if do you know Kirsten Powers? Do you guys know who she is? I don't know if people know.
I don't.
Talks with me, and then she went to CNN. She's actually very, very, very thoughtful. And Kristen Powers converted to Catholicism a long time ago and really leaned into it, and good for her. And
long time ago, how old was she?
Like
an adult?
Oh yeah, I would say 30s.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. All right. There's exceptions to the rule. But like J.D. Vance is a soulless, craven human being. So I'm not buying any.
J.D. Vance's only religion is J.D. Vance, by the way.
Please. Right. And whatever Daddy Peter Thiel says. And so, I mean, this is again where I hope people will go. If you have not watched last season of South Park, there's a whole through line with Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. And it's some of the funniest shit I think that they have put out in 25 years. Including the Peter Thiel knows about the it's the funniest stuff, but it's funny because it's true, and these people are freaks. And Peter Thiel is unfortunately very, very, very rich and very powerful and very he's got a scalpel really when he goes into things, when he invests in things. He was one of the earliest investors in Facebook. Right. I mean,
he's part of the PayPal mafia. Yeah. These are along with all these guys.
Stanford.
Yeah. I think, and as Michelle always points out, and you have to know where people come from. And it's not to say that they can't change, but I've never heard him renounce this. Michelle, please share with the people what Peter Thiel's upbringing was like, because this is your thing.
So Thiel was born in Germany. Like maybe we can do like a whole thing on this one day and like really deep dive. But like he was born in Germany. His parents moved to the United States for a very short amount of time. They moved back to the other part of the world, but they moved to Africa, to a place that has a very long name that I cannot pronounce, but is now, and I will get this right at some point, Namibia. Is that right?
I think he moved to Namibia, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is now. But at the time, it was this other place that started with an S. And there is a story. And I looked up because I was like, okay, what time, what period of time did he live there? Okay, it would have been like the late 70s, right? Mid to late 70s. And I looked it up. There is a story in the New York Times from this place at this exact time where it is described as more Nazi than Nazi Germany. It was very common to just
do the Zig Heil at the gas station.
Yeah, at the gas station throwing up a Heil Hitler stuff.
Yep.
And it was just common. It was common. And this is the place where Peter Thiel was a child and grew up. This is what he was surrounded by. So think about these like tech overlords who grew up in this part of the world, there and South Africa in apartheid. Right. Musk. Who's the other one? Was
David Sachs?
David Sachs.
David
Yes.
Sachs, who runs he's Trump's AI czar, whatever the hell that is. But yeah.
Right. So think about like when you're a young person growing up in a part of the world where either they're throwing up Heil Hitler signs at the gas station, or you're growing up in a apartheid state in which you are the minority but have more rights and more power than
and
your
by the
counterparts.
way, if you really want a view of what it was like when Elon Musk was coming up in South Africa, I strongly urge people. My son had to read this for school, and I was like, I'll read it too. And I got to tell you, it was a seminal, transformative book for me. Read Trevor Noah's autobiography.
I've heard it's really, really good.
I think it's called Born a Crime, because his mother was white and his father was black, which was illegal to have children.
Yeah.
So his mother was black, his father was white. I'm so sorry. His mother was black, his father was white. His mother had to pretend when she was walking with him in a stroller when he was little, because he was light-skinned, that she was the nanny, because it was a crime for her to have a white child, because she was black. And like, you have to read this book. His mother is like, it would be an honor for me to meet Trevor Noah's mother, because the woman is just extraordinary.
Yeah.
But what's also extraordinary is the understanding that you conceptually kind of think about apartheid. And for those of us who grew up in the 80s, and apartheid was remember, it was such a huge cause on college campuses. It was such a huge cause among musicians. Little Stephen Van Zandt did a whole thing about apartheid. It was a huge thing. But until I really read this book from the perspective of somebody who lived there, as he did, not quite the same. And so what I want people to really appreciate and understand is that if you were white in South Africa at the time that Elon Musk was coming up, and Elon Musk is, I think he's my age. So
yeah, he's like 51 or something.
Like that. He's right around my age. So a little older than Trevor Noah. It would be like me coming from the Soviet Union and saying nothing about what the Soviet Union was doing in those days, right? Like, if you don't say anything, if you keep your mouth shut, you tend to agree with what they were doing. And Elon Musk and Peter Thiel have never, ever disputed what was going on there. They've never renounced it. They've never said, my God, we grew up among horrible people who did horrible things to other human beings. It's just from what I can tell, like, listen, as somebody who grew up in a different regime, but also a horrible regime, like, it's not like you can avert your eyes. Like, it's every part of your life. Like, you have Black people living in shanty towns when Elon Musk is living in a horrible place. So, I'm only saying all of this to say that we are being governed by people for whom there is a direct thread between the escape route of Nazis in 1945, including the fact that that Elon Musk's grandfather was basically a Nazi in Canada, which is why they had to move to
They had to flee, right? They were like, oh, you know what? South Africa is much closer to my moral center, so let's go there.
Yeah, I mean, we are 81 years removed from the end of World War I. World War II, excuse me. It's VE Day, right, next month, in just a week or so.
Yeah.
And we are just 81 years removed. And yet there's a direct through line.
Yep.
And it runs through Nazis fleeing Germany to the Thiel family and the Musk family. I'm not suggesting that they are Nazis, but I'm suggesting they have a lot of Nazi tendencies.
Yeah.
And directly into the vice president of the United States. And it is astonishing.
I mean,
we are in the United States of America as we approach our 250th anniversary. It's just amazing. And so the reason I think we wanted to talk to you guys about this is everybody who's sitting around saying, oh my God, Trump, Trump, Trump. You guys, it can get worse. And what's worse is JD Vance, because at least Trump is his own guy, psychotic as he is.
Yeah.
Vance is being ruled by these tech bro oligarchs who come from really interesting places with really interesting backgrounds. I want to
Well,
also say one thing before we pause. For those of you, everybody's being so generous and wonderful and say you guys are finally monetizing. We finally did it this weekend. We are on Substack. And for our paid subscribers on Substack, and we'll do a separate thing here for YouTube. So I don't want to have anybody feel whatever, but we're doing this first on Substack. If you are a paid subscriber to us on Substack, Michelle and I are going to do a weekly AMA. We're doing it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Michelle, is that what we said?
sure.
Yeah. 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. No, 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm sorry. At 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow on Substack. An AMA with Julie and Michelle for our paid subscribers. So if you have a couple bucks to throw our way and Substack, we'd really appreciate it. And come join us for this AMA. When I say you could ask us anything, I mean, literally you can ask us anything.
I don't know that I'll answer it, but you can ask it.
Ask it. You can even ask me about Bombshell, the movie where somebody played me. I may not be able to answer everything based on my NDA, but I will do my best to answer it as best I can.
Truly. Okay. And also, I just want to say thank you to our moderators here on YouTube, because
the Nazis are today.
Oh, yes, they're very active today. And obviously, I mean, if maybe you're new here, maybe you're not, we did kind of get a lot of attention here in the last few days. So for different reasons. So I think there's a lot of new people here. Some of them are wonderful and we're so glad you're here, but some of them not so wonderful. So for that reason, we thank our moderators who have been here since day one, and we love you. And we're so appreciative of you.
And Rosie, thank you for popping your donation, Cherry. We are so honored that you did it for us. Yes. That is your phrasing, not mine. So
yes. But you know, to the thing about South Africa and all these like tech, you know, these white tech guys who want world domination, who are all super weird. They're like weird people who find, by the way, no value or use for women other than to just make babies. And this is kind of where that evangelical and, you know, tech overlord overlap kind of comes into play, because they have common goals of like putting women back in the kitchen and shutting us up. And also, you know, ending Western democracy. But there's another thing about Elon Musk that I think is interesting, you know, that it's not really part of this conversation, but I think it's just a detail. There is a Nazi who was a scientist, and after the war, the United States brought him over here to work on Operation Paperclip, which was like the nuclear stuff. And he wrote a sci-fi book about colonizing Mars. And something about this guy goes to Mars and he gets there, but it's already colonized. And the thing that it's colonized is called like the Elon, right? That's what he's named after. His father named him after this thing in this Mars book written by a Nazi. So I'm just saying there's a lot of roads.
If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck and quacks like a duck, or a lobster.
Right. Maybe or a lobster.
And for people who are saying I'm looking very Cape Cod, you guys, it's now it's the summer. Of course I'm wearing lobster.
It is. Lobster.
It's freezing where I am, but nevertheless, it is lobster season. But go ahead.
The lobster has I think he's wearing a bandana, like a starred bandana.
I think the lobster's wearing an American flag.
Yeah, like a little bandana.
Yeah. And by the way, the lobster is Maine, tuna is more Cape Cod, lobster is more Maine. I love Maine, so that's why I'm saying
Cape Cod. Yeah. I always think of like clams. Well, anyway, the clam chowder.
Yeah, chowder.
Anyways, well, listen, I mean, and the thing is just, and like to look at JD Vance is to see him through the lens of all of these people, and that's why we're kind of talking about them, and because it's JD Vance cares about nothing else except power, proximity to power, and money, and that is it. And it's really just that simple. You know, like, why do you like, I mean, there was a rumor floating around DC also that's like, oh, JD Vance, you know, he wanted to be the first vice president to have a child in office, right? And there's like all the, like, it's really just about, you know, the titles of things and the veneer of things, and it's the same thing as Donald Trump, just like a little maybe different. And Donald Trump cares about no one else except for Donald Trump. That's it. That's it. And he doesn't care about JD Vance. He doesn't care about Marco Rubio. He barely cares about his own children. Guys, he missed his son's wedding.
Okay, can we talk about that for a second? I know it's a little bit off topic, but this is psychotic. He said he was too busy in the White House to go to his own kid's wedding. I have two comments about that. One is this motherfucker plays golf every weekend. He's never too busy for anything. We could be in the midst of a nuclear war. He'd still find a golf course to go hit balls on. So that's one. And two, have you ever noticed that anytime there's a wedding, I don't know why there are balloons happening. Congratulations.
I don't know. Let's celebrate.
Let's celebrate Donald Trump Jr.'s wedding to his second, his future second ex-wife. Listen, this guy shows up and takes photographs. He like photobombs every wedding.
Yeah.
At Bedminster and Mar-a-Lago, wherever you are, he'll photobomb it. Now, there is a theory that he can't go to the Bahamas because he's been.
I hadn't heard this.
He's an adjudicated rapist, and they don't allow people with that kind of record into a foreign country. That's
really
nonsense. Oh, that's nonsense. He's the president of the United States, and he's never been criminally convicted of anything.
That's true. Okay, I hadn't heard that though. That would
yes, that's a big rumor happening. It's not because he couldn't go to the Bahamas. He's the president. Are you kidding me? They're not going to tell the president he can't go to the Bahamas.
Yeah, especially especially a place like that. That's having their fishing boats and everything.
Yeah, and
bombed out of the water.
Yeah, he didn't go because he didn't want to go. Because he thinks Junior is a loser. Because he thinks Junior is an idiot.
Listen,
and okay,
Kendall Roy.
I would say this. I'd almost feel bad for Donald Trump Jr. because his dad, who he so desperately wants to love him, is blowing him off. On the other hand, I don't feel bad for him because when I first met Donald Trump Jr. back in, I remember this day like it was yesterday, 2007, he was on a show with me over at Fox Business. He was the nicest, politest, sweetest, most well-mannered person on earth. And then I saw him again a scant less than a decade later in 2016, and he could not have been a bigger asshole and emulation of his father. So, Junior, you're a jerk. Yeah.
The whole family is
I mean,
garbage in my opinion. But yeah, I mean it's nothing about that surprises me. And if you've seen Succession, which is, based on the Murdoch family, and also the Trumps, and I'm sure, and we had some sort of influence into maybe the characteristics of these people. But Donald Trump, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. I mean, it's really just that simple. He's like, why would I go? I don't want to go. Yeah. And the whole thing is just very, very pathetic. And, I'm sure that Donald Trump Jr. is playing this off like it's no big deal. But let me just tell you, I have a sibling who didn't come to my wedding. Mind you, I hadn't really talked to this person before I got married for a little bit, but I certainly never talked to them after. So, you know what I mean? Like missing someone's wedding is kind of a big deal.
You and Donald Trump Jr., Michelle, is that your entire life, professional career, and everything else is not tied up in your sibling. In the event of Donald Trump Jr., and I have a Substack on this out today, and it's paywall, but I will just blow the paywall here because what the hell? I love you guys and you're with us and you've been all along. So I don't know if people realize this, and this relates to what you're just saying now, Michelle. Back in March, the Florida state legislature passed a law mandating that Palm Beach International Airport be renamed for okay, we kind of all knew about this. What we didn't know, and I went deep dive into this licensing agreement, is that Palm Beach County, which is controlled 4-3 by Democrats, there are 4 Democratic commissioners, 3 Republican commissioners, was forced, and they had to do this because if not, the state of Florida would have withheld funding to them, was forced to enter into a licensing agreement with the Trump family. Run this licensing agreement, it's called DTTM, which is Donald Trump TM trademark, right? Run by Donald Trump Jr. DTTM is run by Donald Trump Jr. It is based out of Trump National Golf Course in Jupiter, Florida, because of course they run their businesses out of the golf course. I mean, it's like the mafia ran it out of the Italian back room of the Italian restaurant, in Ozone Park. Like that's where he runs. They run theirs out of their golf courses. And Donald Trump Jr. Um,
David, do I have TDS? You bet your ass I do. I do. And welcome to the Mayday
welcome.
Network.
Thanks for helping us with our algorithm, David. We
Yeah.
are really grateful to you for being here. Anyway, the point is they have a licensing agreement where Palm Beach has to have Donald Trump Jr. and this DTTM approve all the branding. And the branding is in black and gold and all their Trump bullshit colors with the presidential seal, by the way. And they can sell to, they have a licensing agreement where they can monetize all of this.
Of course.
Through vendors. And the taxpayers are on the hook for all of this. They're on the hook for all of
Of course. Of course.
It is the biggest grift. It's not the biggest grift, but it is yet one more grift. And it's tremendous. And I go into a lot of detail on this, but I'm saying this to you because Donald Trump Jr. were it not for these kinds of grifts, including the Trump organization grifts that they're doing, all these licensing deals that they're doing in Saudi and in Oman and in the UAE and I think in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, and in Romania, all these places that need the United States government to help them out. If not for this grift, Donald Trump Jr. would be selling cigarettes. He'd be selling Lucy's on the street corner somewhere. So unlike your sibling, Michelle, unlike your sister,
yeah,
he has no choice. His father, this is I think why Trump wants to humiliate his own son. He's basically saying to him, I'm going to humiliate you in front of the world and you'll have no
always. He gets a kick out of it. He likes, I mean, this comes to the point that I was making earlier. It's like he eats his young, even his own. He gets off on humiliating people. He loves it.
Yeah.
He loves it. And it's why, like, you know, the minions around him that grovel the hardest, you know, who think that somehow they're going to be absolved from Donald Trump's wrath. It's always just funny to me, like how these people still don't learn. And I mean, I guess being a child of this is a different type of psychosis, but you know, people think for some reason, oh, no. But if I do A, or if I do B, or if I do what he wants, he's not going to do that to me. I'll be saved. Bibbies, no. It never, Bibbies, no. It never works out. It never works out. I mean, look at Reince Priebus and Chris Christie and John. I mean, literally everyone.
And Chris Christie, God bless him, is out there trying to rehabilitate himself.
Please.
And I know Chris Christie, and
I know,
like, whatever, but I will say this about Chris Christie, my man, you knew exactly what you were doing.
Yeah. He almost killed
you. And yet you still supported him until he lost the reelect.
Yeah.
And that applies to all of these people who are like, I was never Trump after January 6th. Where the hell were you before January 6th? Like the day the Charlottesville march happened, and he said there were good people on both sides, you should have walked out. And if you didn't walk out,
Jews will not replace us.
If you didn't walk out then, sorry, my man and woman, it doesn't matter. Because January 6th was just the final straw, but there were a lot of straws before that the camel was really weighing under. I don't know why this is.
You're having a lot of happening.
I'm having a lot of emotion. I'm going to stop. I'm going to cross.
You're doing down. You're doing up. You're doing balloons.
Happy summer.
Happy summer. Donald Trump didn't go to his son's wedding. Let's party. But you know, I have to wonder at what point people will learn. They're never going to learn. They'll never learn. And to see these people do it over and over and over, like look at Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem. I mean, I was listening to Caleb Heron talk on his podcast about this the other day, and how like the first administration, Donald Trump, appointed and hired a bunch of people that, like kind of kind of knew what they were doing. They were like more quote unquote acceptable Republicans to have in his orbit. But he didn't really know them that well. And like, what did he do? He destroyed all of their careers, humiliated them, left them on the tarmac, quite literally. And that was that. But this second time around, he has hired the dumbest, most unqualified, sycophantic minions possible, so that they will do all of his bidding because they're so loyal to him, because they know that they don't belong there and that any other universe would never be in their jobs. And for that reason, they have to do everything Donald Trump tells them to do. And they do to their own detriment. And look at what is happening. I mean, he can pardon all these people on his way out the door or wherever he's going. But, you know, I think to an extent, I don't know how this saves them all. From a lifetime of pain for the damage that they've caused, not just to democracy, but to American lives, our standing in the world. I mean, the list goes on. The list goes on. But yeah, so if that makes me have TDS, I guess I got.
Yeah, I guess we do. Well, what more can we say other than JD Vance? You are a stone cold loser, and you will always be. And so will Donald Trump. I know that he's won his presidential election. I know that he's the president, so it's kind of hard to say that he's a stone cold loser. But he did it on the backs of people like some of the people in this chat, not the good guys, who, after all of this, still buy the bullshit and don't understand that he laughs at you behind your back and thinks you're a bunch of tools and exploits you financially and thinks you're marks. And if you don't think you're a mark and you look around the table and you don't see the mark, you might realize the mark is you, friends. And that's who you are. And I used to feel sorry for you because, okay, everybody can make mistakes. I certainly have supported candidates in retrospect who are awful human beings.
Yeah, same.
But after a decade of this, if you still haven't learned that you're a mark and that he's literally grifting off of you, that he's taking $1 billion out of your pocket to reward all of his little insurrectionists, then what more can we say other than?
Have you seen James Carville's rant about Trump derangement syndrome? Have you ever seen it? Oh, I've got it. We're gonna watch it here for a second. If you don't like swear words, cover your little ears.
Okay. Can I just stop for a second?
Yeah.
Kind of shit.
Oh yeah, no, get out of here.
Tolerated on this channel ever.
Yeah.
I hear one bad word about Jews or Israelis or any Black people, white people, Asians, anybody,
women,
bye-bye. The reason we hate Hassan Piker in this channel is because he called women the C word. And the reason we don't like him is because he said that Orthodox Jews are inbred. I don't care if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, if you're a progressive or you're MAGA. If you insult people like that, you're done and you're out. Sorry, Michelle, continue.
No, it's fine. So if you don't like swear words, cover your little earmuffs. But I enjoy this, and it's on our YouTube shorts from maybe a month back, but I enjoy it.
Fuck Trump. If you listen to this, you listen good, because what I'm getting ready to say is what a lot of people in this country speak for, who I speak for. And I speak for a lot of fucking people. You hear me, you fat asshole? This is what we believe. You're right. I got Trump derangement syndrome. I hate the motherfucker. And you know what? I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to get better. I want to get worse. I want to hate him more. I pray to God in heaven, God reign the righteous reign of Trump derangement syndrome. Pray for me, Lord. I'm your vessel on this earth. Pray for the people that listen to this. We want more. We want to hate the son of a bitch so much that we can't see straight.
Anyways, I just enjoy it.
I mean, listen.
I know. I was like, you know what? For all, James Carville doesn't always get it right, in my opinion. Sometimes does not get it right, but sometimes he does. And that was funny. And you know what? It was cathartic.
Yeah, and I don't, you know, we can have a 20-hour marathon about everything wrong with Donald Trump, but understand, like, yeah, we do have Trump derangement syndrome, and it's not really derangement. By the way, do people even realize where that comes from? That phrase? It used to be Bush derangement syndrome.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and it comes from a right wing. I don't know.
God, again. I don't know what's happening.
Again.
We got to turn that off your iOS settings, I think.
How do I do that?
I don't know. We'll Google it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm trying to remember.
Typing very
Okay,
fiercely.
Okay, it was Charles Krauthammer. Okay, so Charles Krauthammer, who worked with me at Fox, and I forgot his name, who's now died, was a Republican commentator, thought leader. They all really respected him. He was wrong about most things, but he was right about some things. And he coined the phrase Bush derangement syndrome to talk about Democrats. Let me just say this. He hated Donald Trump. Hated him. He was a never Trumper. So you idiots don't even understand who you're quoting. A guy who had Trump derangement syndrom.
They never do. They never do.
You never do. You complete and utter morons. That was Charles Krauthammer, who you still hold up as some sort of, intellectual genius in the Republican Party, not realizing that he hated.
Or as they would refer to as a rhino.
Yes. And Charles Krauthammer has been dead for a long time, as people pointed it out, which is why people don't realize that he hated Trump before he died, but he did. Yeah. All right, friends.
Can I just address one more thing before we go?
Yes.
So we've had this whole thing with this whole Stephen Colbert thing with the public access show that he did right the day after he left CBS, and a bunch of people who had kind of re-aired this public access show thinking that we had Stephen Colbert's back, and trying to get people to support the public access channel that it was broadcast on. And then we got a takedown notice from Paramount, us and other people who wanted to re-air it. And we couldn't understand why Paramount or CBS was doing this, because we're like, why are they doing this? They don't own this. And so obviously there was an uproar, and not just with us, other people too. And in the spirit of, we thought we were supporting Stephen Colbert, who had been wronged by CBS and Paramount. And the very unfortunate thing here that we have learned since, because they did put the video back up, and Paramount backed down from everybody. And there's all these articles written about this in Variety and NBC and the Daily Beast and everything. And we were glad to see that, because we're like, great, yay, free speech. But unfortunately, we have learned that Paramount funded the production of this public access show that Stephen Colbert did. And nowhere on that broadcast did they say that, or was it indicated or insinuated or anything. And
so we have some questions for Stephen Colbert.
I'm like,
why?
Yeah. I'm like, what?
Stockholm syndrome? Like, what's going on with you, Stephen? We love you, Stephen.
I don't know. I do too. I mean, obviously, I've talked at length about how much I love the man, and he's been a hero of mine for a very, very long time. And so I feel not great about that. So, yeah.
Okay.
Just wanted to address that.
But also for anybody who's complaining that we aired it without directing people to Stephen Colbert's own YouTube channel. We didn't even know he had a YouTube channel. We were just trying to get as many people as possible to watch. We weren't monetizing it. We weren't doing anything on it. We just wanted people to see it. And we continue to want people to see it.
Yeah.
So
I know people were like yelling at me, and I was like, legitimately, it was in the best. We had the best intentions.
Best of intentions. Trust me, we did not make a dime on re-airing that.
No.
We just we still can't monetize it now that we're trying to.
No,
because some copyrighted stuff, and we're not trying. We just.
But I wouldn't. Yeah.
We wouldn't. Yeah, we just wanted people to see it. Okay, guys, please, for those of you who are paid subscribers to Mayday Network on Substack, please join us for our first AMA there tomorrow. We really, really, really love our peeps, and we're so glad that this community exists. So thank you so much.
And thank you to our moderators again, because it's getting busy. Busy with the bad boys and girls. So we appreciate you jumping in and shielding the rest of our community from
To the bad
hate
boys and
speech.
girls who are still on this channel, thank you for joining us too, because you're just helping us with the algorithm. So
That is true. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for joining the Trump Derangement Syndrome Network, the Mayday Network, and we hope that maybe if you listen to us some more, we will instill in you an understanding of the fact that you're a mark.
Yeah.
Okay. Anne-Marie, I don't know why you refuse to verify your age. Just pretend you're 21 and move on. Listen.
That is true. I do that often.
Nobody's, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Rosie, the founder price is definitely not $475.
No way.
Not.
No way.
No way. So, not at all. And we're not asking that kind of money for anybody. It is $8 a month or $80 a year, or the founder price is $250, which doesn't mean you have to give $250. It's just they ask us to. The algorithm puts it in, so we put it in. It is 100% not $475. Please,
no way.
We try to make it as accessible as possible for everybody.
Okay.
But in Australian dollars, it could be. Although I don't think the exchange rate is that bad. That would be.
I don't know. I wouldn't know. Yeah.
Anne-Marie, you own your 60 years. I own my 53 years. You know what? It is fantastic to get older because the alternative is much worse. Okay. You guys, so good to see everybody here. And we will be back really soon.
We might. Yeah. And we should, can we tell people that we're interviewing a very special guest tomorrow in person.
Guys, let me just say this. Because everybody, and I got to go in 1 minute, because everybody here was so generous over the last couple of days. We were able to rent a podcast studio, which is not cheap to do in New York City. And we are interviewing Alex Vindman tomorrow, who's running for Senate in Florida, but more relevantly, or not maybe more relevantly, but everybody here knows Alex Vindman as the hero who stepped forward to hold Trump accountable during his first impeachment trial. The definition of honor and duty to this country, the definition of what it means to be an American and an immigrant in this country. If you like Curb Your Enthusiasm, we'll ask him about that too. He was on Curb with Larry David in the last season. So if you have questions that you want us to ask Alex Vindman, throw them in the chat here or tomorrow. When
it's going to be live. It's not going to be live.
It's not going to be live. It's not going to be live, but we are interviewing him tomorrow, and then we'll edit and we'll put it up. So we're super, super excited for that. I got to run. So good to see everybody. And we will see you all really soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.